What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Teapot as part of my Does It Suck series. The Teapot is a weapon rewarded to you by Tiny Tina after completing the Tea Party quest, where you torture Flesh Stick and protect Tiny Tina's garage. This particular weapon is a corrosive-only Dahl pistol, which makes it similar in some ways to the legendary Dahl pistol, the Hornet. Comparing the two, we can see that the Teapot does have significantly less damage, being about a sixth lower than the Hornets. However, it does have increased accuracy, but a lower fire rate and magazine size. It does do what appears to be exactly double the corrosive damage over time that the Hornet does, albeit at a less chance to cause that corrosive damage over time. The Teapot also only has a burst fire size of 2, and obviously the Hornet has a much larger burst size than that. I think it's around 5 or 6 if Two Fang isn't activating. But obviously I have Two Fang activating at the moment, so sometimes you'll see the Teapot do a burst size of 3 or even 4. I am going to be using it here with a legendary killer class mod and this skill build, and we'll see how I do here against the Washburn Refinery. Now obviously the Hornet did pretty well. I haven't ever really used the Teapot, this will be my first time, so it'll be interesting to see how the lower damage and fire rate actually works out. We were able to kill that first guy pretty quickly. We'll see if that ends up being the case with some of these other loaders in here as well. Try to spread slag out on these guys real quick and then get some bore shots on them. Cool, so we're doing alright so far. We do need to retreat a little bit and gather some health before we proceed, and we're going to need to try to concentrate on that hot loader pretty quickly before we catch a corrosive damage over time at least. Cool, so because the weapon is pretty accurate with a base accuracy of, what was it, 94 point something I think it was? 94.7, and then obviously I'm boosting that with precision a little bit more. The weapon is going to be more than able to kill things and hit critical hits at range, which is nice. We'll let that exploder go ahead and deal with himself, and then we'll begin to kill the rest of the enemies that are going to be in this room. Killed that guy before he got his eye blast off, so that's good stuff. I'll retreat just a little bit so I can get some of my health back here. Alright, we'll get slag on this guy, and we'll kill him, and then we'll move on to the badass loader. So far, the little Teapot has done its job pretty well. Not incredibly well, but I mean, haven't really had any troubles that were due directly to the gun being weak. Was playing a little bit foolishly in some portions, and took a little bit of extra damage than I should have, but the Teapot was killing things pretty quickly. We'll see how it does here against the badass loader. I think it was doing a little bit better than I expected it to do so far. The decreased damage and fire rate in comparison to the Hornet worried me a little bit, because I've always considered the Hornet to be a somewhat overrated weapon, and I was worried that, you know, with it having significantly lower stats than the Hornet, that wouldn't be a good thing, but it took out this badass loader pretty damn quickly. So we're going to be moving forward here and see how we do against the rest of the loaders and everything that we're going to encounter here in the Washburn Refinery. It's not really loaders and everything, it's primarily just loaders, unless something extremely weird could happen. I don't know. Nah, it's impossible. There's nothing that can spawn in here other than loaders. But so far, the Teapot is doing pretty solid. It's a good little weapon. I like the accuracy of it. The damage over time doesn't really do anything for me, but I guess with Gage that could be kind of cool, or with Krieg, but again, damage over time isn't really my favorite strategy by any means. However, the accuracy of the weapon, even at range, is pretty fun and easy to hit critical hits with, which I do like. Let these loaders kind of deal with themselves, I guess. Cool. I do think that the Teapot is going to be pretty ammo efficient. It's not needing some exuberant amount of bullets to actually kill enemies, and pistols do have a fairly deep ammo pool, so that works out pretty well. Alright, now that the loaders have been dealt with, we can start dealing with some actual loaders that aren't going to kill themselves right away and are going to have guns, or in this case, flamethrowers, which can be awfully irritating. Cool. So we dealt with that hot loader there, and we managed to get out of the range of that exploder at the same time, so that worked out pretty well. And then we killed that power loader there pretty quickly as well. Well, apparently this bull loader doesn't want to be slagged, but we managed to slag him eventually. Alright, so we do need to get some heals coming pretty quickly here. Looks like we were able to get those just in time. Now we'll try to kill this bull loader. Nice. Alright, getting slag here on these gun loaders. We're going to try to, at least. Game doesn't want to play nice right now, but no big deal. We've got slag on them now. Got another hot loader here. It's cool that we're able to take out the hot loaders at range, because that gets us out of their explosion radius, which is obviously something that you do have to watch out for. We're going to try to disable this badass loader's arms before he gets completely out of this doorway here and becomes a little bit more dangerous. So that actually worked out pretty well. And now we can position this railway, or not railway, but rail system, not rail system, rails on this stairway between us and he, so that he can't hit us with this eye blast that he's going to do once you knock his arms off. So it did pretty well here in this staged loader room, and it took out that badass loader without too much difficulty. Obviously, it took out the first badass loader pretty quickly as well. The game was generous with its grenade drops there, so that was good of it. I'm going to blow a couple of these barrels up before we get too far. It looks like we got a junk loader and a bull loader in here, so we'll try to get slag spread out on them and maybe line up a bore shot on the two of them. Alright. Probably a little bit too aggressive there, but ended up alright. This bull loader is hitting us with some of the best pathing he can do to get his shield between us and his critical spots, but we were able to take him out as well. I have mentioned it before, but I do like the accuracy of this weapon when it comes to taking out hot loaders. I like that quite a bit, actually. Just gonna knock this exploder down. He didn't get to my decoy just in time to not blow up, but that's alright, because we've killed him now, and the gun loader dies pretty quickly as well. So this weapon isn't exceptionally powerful by any means, but it's hard for me to say that it sucks. It does quite alright, and obviously it's given to you at a time right before you get to some loader-heavy areas for the first time in Borderlands 2, which I think is what this weapon is kind of meant for. If you do that side quest there, it rewards you and will give you a little bit of a benefit before you get to Wilhelm's end-of-the-line area and some other loader-heavy areas like Opportunity and stuff. And I think that that is pretty much the point of the weapon. It's not supposed to be an exceptionally powerful weapon or anything like that. I think that's why the Hornet would exist if you did want a really strong, or pretty strong. I think the Hornet is a little bit overrated. I think I mentioned that. But in case you did want a stronger corrosive Dahl pistol, that's why the Hornet is there. And this is just supposed to be a weapon to get you past some of the first loader-heavy areas that you're going to face in Borderlands 2. So, it definitely seems to be more than strong enough to be able to do its job at that, because it's still working through enemies here at overpowered level 8 fairly well. It's definitely not a top-tier weapon by any means, but it's not a bottom-tier weapon either. It seems to be doing quite alright. Haven't had too many issues with it here as I've been working through the Washburn Refinery and actually playing kind of poorly, so that's something to keep in mind, I guess. But it is actually taking out these enemies with relative ease. Not too many troubles. You know, it takes out most of these enemies in less than a magazine, especially if I get slag on them. So that's good stuff. Alright. I am a little bit sick right now, guys, so if my voice sounds off, that is why, and I apologize for that. But, you know, oh well. Sometimes that happens. Cool. I mean, I do like the accuracy of the weapon. Stylistically, I do like Dahl pistols. They're pretty cool and remind me of Glocks in real life in some ways, obviously not the burst fire. But the styling, at least aesthetically and stuff, obviously not this pink skin, but they do kind of just look German pistol-y to me, and so that's kind of neat. Anywho, as always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. The Teapot, I don't think it sucks by any means. It's obviously not as good as the Hornet or other corrosive pistol options, probably, but it is a pretty good little weapon, and obviously you get it at a point in time where you're about to reach some loaders and stuff in Borderlands 2, and it could be very useful for that. So I'll say that the Teapot definitely doesn't suck in my mind. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave those below, and I'll try to have some conversation with you guys in that area. As always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.